nice to see you guys today. At least we have a bigger number today, and it's nice to have you guys here. So again, as I said before, my name is Daniel Odur. I'm glad to be here with you guys this evening. Me and my colleagues decided to start this group called Assemblage just to be able to help guys who are in KSL. This is mainly because of what we went through when we were in KSL, the anxiety, the lack of information that sometimes you can go through when you are in KSL. Sorry for that. And we thought, why not? Why not? How can we ensure that someone else doesn't go through this anxiety? How can we ensure that someone else doesn't feel like they don't have this big brother to let them know what's happening, how KSL is? And some of the things that sometimes would give you anxiety, or some of the things that maybe you'd worry about, include orals. Before you do orals exams, sometimes you'd hear all these rumors. Oh, there'll be an ambulance waiting for those who faint. Oh, there'll be this waiting for what? Then there's this that will happen. There's that will happen. So basically, we came up with this group to debunk some of those things that you're told, and to just let you know what actually happens during orals. And we think and we believe that by going before you, by letting you know what actually happens, that will help reduce the anxiety. It will help you guys to focus. At least you guys will know what you are up to and how to prepare for whatever is coming. Okay, so basically that's one of the reasons as to why we started this group. Yes. So after giving that background, and before we start, it's always our norm that we start with a word of prayer. So I'll start with a word of prayer before we proceed from here. So let's believe and pray. Our Father, art in heaven, Lord God, we thank you so much for today. We thank you for your grace. We thank you for your love. We thank you for convening us here today, this evening, oh God. King of Kings, as we discuss today, oh God, my Father, as we learn today from each other, may you help us to remember and to memorize King Jesus, oh God. May you help us to be better, King Jesus. Lord God, we thank you. We worship you. And it is in your mighty name, Lord God, that we pray and believe. Amen. Amen, guys. Yes. So that is one of the reasons as to why we started this group. And that is the reason as to why we decided and we said that why not meet every Saturday? Why not plan these meetings during, the weekends, and just talk to these guys, and just let them know what is happening. Just ensure that nobody's feeling anxious. Just to ensure that everybody knows what is coming. And proportionately, not disproportionately, to the extent that people are worried, people are anxious, and everything else. There are people who will tell you KSL is not doable. There are people who will tell you you'll do those exams 3 times before you pass. There are people who will tell you, oh, there are guys who have done it 20 times. Oh, there are people who have never ever passed. And all these things are there, and you'll hear them. You'll hear people talking about them. But I think for me, one thing that I like saying, and that I'd also like to say today, is everyone has their own story. I had my story. You're making your own story today. For us, we did it once. And by the grace of God, we all passed. We passed in our first attempt. And I want to believe that even for you guys, it's possible and you're able to do it. You're able to do it. So basically, those are some of the reasons as to why we decided to come up with this group. Those are some of the reasons as to why we have these sessions. And again, those are some of the reasons as to why we have it freely, and you don't need to pay anyone anything. The only thing you need to do is know when the link is shared, join that link and listen in. Of course, if you have questions, ask questions. But nothing much, nothing more. After that, that's it. You get all your 9Ps here. You don't owe it to anyone. We won't call you and tell you, oh, it's because we taught you, it's because we had these tuitions with you, or it's because we told you what actually happens. Nah, nothing like that. Nothing like that. We do it for free, and they are notarized. They're notarized. So you don't have to pay anything. And hopefully no one ever tells you to pay. If someone tells you to pay, that will be a lie. That will be a liar. So don't listen to such a person. Yes. So it's nice to have you again. So I'll be doing this with my colleagues. I want to believe that they have joined us tonight. So they'll just introduce themselves so that we are able to begin. So any one of us who is present, guys, anyone who is present, maybe you can just unmute and talk. Angela, I don't know if you're there. And just say hi to us before you begin. Donna, Osumba, if you're there. Any of you? Yes? Okay, probably they'll be joining in a minute. So
Yes,
that's fine.
Daniel, I'm here.
Oh, you're there. Okay. Just
Yes,
oh,
yes. I'm
okay.
just trying to clear my background noise. There
But
is
okay,
some there's someone who is likely to disturb us. Anyway,
just go.
guys, my name is Angelo McQuay. I'm an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. I have had a couple of sessions with you guys. That was the introductory part when we were discussing or doing like a run through of a few courses here and there. Now we are in my special part, that is the oral examinations preparations. And I believe we are going to have a great journey. We have done it before, we'll do it again. So tell your friends to join in. We don't charge anything. We only encourage each other. We train each other on how to answer the oral examination questions. So that is me. We will engage more on weekends. And yes, that's it, Daniel. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Angelo. Thank you so much for that. Okay, okay. Donna, are you in? Donna, are you in? Okay, Donna is not there. Lim Lim, are you in? He's not in. Sawa sawa. So I think they'll be joining us as we continue, and that's okay. Now back to you guys. Back to you. One thing that we like doing here, and we like saying, we are all now we are advocates of the High Court of Kenya for us, probably me and Angelo and anyone else who have joined. And you guys are on the same, you're on the same path, and probably at one point you'll become advocates of the High Court of Kenya. And how great, how beautiful that will be. And so one thing that we like doing here is we like to relate in a way that, you see me as your colleague and I see you as my colleague. We don't have teacher student here. No, nothing like that. And that's why we try to make it look like an assembly, like a parliament. All of them are MPs. Yes, we have the speaker who is an ex-official member, but all of them are MPs, meaning I'm able to talk to you. You're able to talk to me. Nobody's scared of anyone. So we are free here. Feel free. We were student once, and in law, we are all the students. Even today, we are learning, and we are learning with you. Okay, so don't feel shy, do not be intimidated by anyone. If you have a question, please, I'm your colleague. Raise up your hand, ask me, Daniel, I have this question about this, about this, about this, and we'll talk about it. If I've said something that you don't think is correct, maybe a law has changed, maybe there's a new precedent, please feel very free. Stop me, tell me this is what I think, of course in an orderly manner. Let me know, oh, there's this new precedent, the High Court has decided this and this and this, and now this is the law. And we learn, and all of us learn like that. Don't allow me to lie to you. And of course, I will also not allow you to lie to me or to lie to us. Okay? So please feel free. We are colleagues. We are all learning. If there's something that you want to point out, please feel free to point it out. Let us know and let us work together. So we are colleagues, guys. We are colleagues. We don't have teachers, tutors, and students. We are colleagues and we are all sharing. I know we've done it before and it's your first time, but yes, we are colleagues. So Osumba, what we were doing is we were just sharing, we were just introducing ourselves. I see you've joined. We were just introducing ourselves to the class before we begin. So maybe you can just introduce yourself, Osumba, then we can proceed from there. I see you've joined. If you're able to, that is.
All right, Daniel, thank you. Hi, guys. I hope I can be heard. My name is Osuba, and I'm happy to join you guys. I'm an advocate. Santini.
Nice, great. Yeah, so Angela, this is the three of us. I think we'll be able to manage each and everything that will come. Yes. So we always start from Q&A. But I think before we do that, I'd like to share a story about my background. Sister car next to me. I'd like to share how orals were for me. Hopefully it shuts down in a few minutes. Anyway, I'd like to share how orals was for me. So for me, Thank you. So for me, I think when I heard about orals, I was very, very worried because I imagined I was being told that, for orals, you'll just go there and they'll shoot questions at you. A black man being shot at again. Anyway, that's something else. They'll just shoot questions to you. Someone will say this, someone will say this. You'll hear this question from this lecturer. This lecturer will ask this. And I was like, what? What if they ask what I don't know? What if I don't know the answer to all the questions? What's going to happen? Am I going to be mute? What am I going to say? What if I know nothing at all? What's going to happen? Because again, law is so huge. It's so hard to know everything. But by the grace of God, the questions that I was asked, I was able to answer them. And I think the confidence that we were able to build before the exams really, really enabled us to just calm down. So basically, I'd like to just let you guys know how it happened. So you go into a room with the lecturers. Maybe there are two, maybe there are three lecturers. I think it depends. But for me, there are two lecturers, as I remember. And of course, they'll be there. They'll be seated, and you'll go in. You'll open the door. Then you'll stand in front of them. Okay. Of course, you'll give them enough space as possible. Then they'll ask for your ID. They'll check your admission number, your registration number. They'll check your name. They'll ask you your name and everything else. And so you'll be able to introduce yourself to them so that they know if it's the right person who is appearing before them and not someone else. It's not a micros doing the exams for you. So they'll ask you that. And sometimes that would feel, there are people who would be worried. I mean, I'm going to introduce myself. What if I don't say everything correctly? It's going to be the first impression. What if I make them mad? What if I say, of course, yes, they're human beings, but I think it is always very important to just calm down, because when you calm down, you're able to think better. Yeah. So basically, they'll ask you for your ID. They'll go through that ID. They'll see your name. They'll see your registration number, and they'll write them down. After that, and if you're told to introduce yourself, I think it would be proper that you say your full names. Daniel Stephen Oduor. I'm in class A. I'm in group or farm 10. My admission number is this, and this. After that, they'll start asking you questions one by one. Probably they'll start with funny questions. Oh, I'm told Arsenal was playing yesterday and they lost. Which team do you support? Just to create some banter and to break the ice. And so I think it would be very important, again, just to chill. I think they try as much as possible just to make you calm down. So just to create some banter and to break the ice, they might. I'm not saying that all of them will ask you those particular questions. Then after that, they'll get into the real thing. They'll ask you, a friend of mine told me that they were in a bar one day with his friend, and they struck a deal. They always do this so many times, and they agreed that he's going to buy his land for 20 million. Then 2 weeks after that, he realized that someone else has bought that land, and he's so worried. This 20 million, he had already sent 5 million to this friend of his, and he was sure that the land was this. It's a very, very prime land, and he wants to take him to court. Which advice would you give him? Just something like that. Then of course, we know what that's about. For land, you must have a contract. So you talk about the right sections that talk about a contract and everything else. So basically, it's not the end of the world. It's not the worst thing that you'd go through as an advocate. And it's very important for you to just calm down and so that you're able to concentrate and answer the questions correctly. Yes. So just to reiterate or to say again, you'll go into a room, you'll find the lecturers seated there. Okay, you'll appear before them. Of course, when you go, you can say, hello, how are you doing? How is your morning? Nice. If they're nice lecturers, they'll smile at you, they'll laugh a bit. Then they'll ask you for your ID. You give them your ID so that they confirm each and everything so that they're able to identify you. They'll ask you to introduce yourself. Of course, you'll just introduce yourself. Now, in introduction, as I've said, it's very important that you say everything that is relevant to KSL, your name, your 3 names, your registration number, the farm that you are in, and your registration. Okay, your names, your registration number, the class that you are in, and the farm that you are in. I think for me, I used to remember them with those 4 things. Of course, don't get into, oh, I'm a Christian. Oh, and you've not been asked. But if you aren't, I mean, who knows? Maybe the banter is, you've been able to create so much banter that you're able to say all that. But yes, I think it's very important that you stick to those 4 things. Then after that, they'll ask you questions one by one. So the first one probably will ask you 3 questions, then the other one will ask you questions. After that is done, you will leave the room and go home. So that is how it happens. Now, before you go to them, you guys will be in a hall or a room, probably the 20 of you. Now, what happens is they'll tell you whether you are appearing in the morning for your orals exams or you are appearing in the afternoon. Okay. So for those who are appearing in the morning, probably you'll be in KSL by 9. You'll go into a room. All of you guys will be seated there. Then you'll be called one by one, one by one, one by one. So yes, to paint a picture, that is how it happens. That is how it goes down. Nothing crazy. I don't think anything has changed ever since. Okay. So that is how it happens. If I've forgotten about anything, my colleagues will add. Now, as I said before, my experience was at first, after hearing all these stories, how orals can be bad, how the people who have gotten 5, how the people who can get 4 and everything else, I was so worried. But one thing that helped me was just trying to understand stuff. One thing with KSL is at least be sure you know what is happening. Like at least when I ask you, oh, I'm having a contract for land. What are some of the things that I need to do? It has to be in writing. At least know that contract has to be in writing. The contract, the Law of Contract Act Section 33 says this. The Land Act Section 38 says. At least be able to explain. Sometimes it's always easy when you have some content in your mind. You get confidence. So please just try and get some information and you'll have confidence and you'll be able to answer these particular questions. So after studying, for me, it was a bit easier going to the room because at least I knew there are questions I'm able to dive with. There are questions I'm able to answer. However crazy it is, there are questions that I'll be able to answer. And that really helps me to build confidence. So one thing I'd like to tell you guys, read. The more you read, the more confidence you build. So just read and build confidence. Read and build confidence, and you'll be okay with orals. It's not the end of the world. Just simmer, calm down, be there early enough, and you'll be okay, and you'll be fine, and be able to do it. What worked for me is I studied. At least I tried to ensure that I know something. And the pertinent issues, the things that you ought to know, like overriding interest, things like that. The contract has to be written, elements of a contract, things like that. Just go back to your books or even go back to your university notes. This pertinent, these small issues, at least try as much as possible to ensure that you know them and you'll be fine. That is all from me. I know probably there's so much noise from my background, but you guys have heard me. So we'll go to Angelo. Angelo, what would you like to share? How was your experience? Which advice would you give?
All right. Thank you, Daniel. I will not say much because I believe the 65 members who are within, they just want to hear from us and to listen to the questions, and maybe they are prepared, they are ready, they want us to bombard them. But what I can say is let no one tell you that KSL is hard, orals are what. No. Whatever that is here, like I have been saying this in several occasions like this one. As long as you are reading, you are attending your classes, by the way, you will come to realize that KSL is one of the easiest examinations that you will ever see. The problem is it will not come cheap. It will need you to put in those hours because you see you are consuming a lot of content within a period of 9 months. And it actually should be more if you look at it. So it means that you will need to do it over time because, for example, examinations like oral exams, you don't know where you'll be tested. You will be tested in 9 units. The problem is, let's say, maybe you have not read LPM. For example, that was my case. I was having an issue with that particular unit because you have 5 advantages, you what disadvantages, what is whatever procedure. So I was really, really afraid, but I calmed myself down because sometimes you need your God there. Maybe you also need luck and the preparations, those three things, how prepared you are, and preparation will come to your reading, what we are doing tonight. And because if you are prepared, it will mean that you will have confidence, because that is something that will be tested. Your confidence will be tested in that particular examinations. How well dressed you are or how dressed you are will also be tested. How your organization, how you are presenting your answers, you realize out of that 20, actual content is 7 marks. So the 13 marks, they come from different areas. Once you step in that particular examination room, you have like a 6. Okay, you have like a 6 because when you know your suit, you have you are smart. Okay, so and things like that, like the dress itself, that is 2 marks. Okay, I don't have the breakdown, but what I know is that content out of the 20, it is 7 marks. So it means that there are a lot of other aspects of your presentation that will be tested. Therefore, how prepared you will be will come in handy. Your luck, because of the panel, hopefully they will meet familiar faces there. You are really active in your class. Lecturers have seen you. Okay, even if they go there, they say that introduce yourself. Of course, they know you, but it is a formality that you introduce yourself. Okay, then Mungu too. You just need God, man. What they normally say. So just believe in yourself. Ongea na security hapo kwa gate. Kama uko online, it is still fine. Let your lecturers know you. Enda ukule cafeteria. You can go to gate C once in a while. Okay. I know people who used to go to gate C but tu wakapata their 9Ps. Okay. I'm not saying that you go there every day, but you can try. So that is all I can say, because I believe we will we have another person, my colleague. So Daniel, that is all I can say for now. I believe we will be engaging as time goes by. Thank you.
Welcome. Welcome. On behalf of the class. Thank you so much, Angela. I think that was very, very, very clear. Okay. Let's go to, so how you present yourself. I mean, ensure that you're looking clean, ensure that you are audible. Don't go there and start speaking slowly in a way that they can't even hear what you're saying. You're just mumbling words here and there. You're moody, you don't bring in, you try to be joyful at least. Yes, you can be as serious as you want, but try to be joyful. Have some charisma, at least let the room be warm. Don't be too cold. I think it's very important that you do that. Okay, Osumba.
Thank you, Daniel. I think most of the issues have been covered, but I don't want to say that there is a particular formula that really works when it comes to orals and even the bio exams. But I will briefly share what worked for me and for most of my colleagues. For us, from the onset, I think a month to oral exams, we, because we had a very solid study group, like all the way from term 1. So a month towards the oral exams, we decided to have like mock oral sessions where we would, have your peer ask you questions. And it was not really to make you feel like you don't know, but just to build your confidence. So the first thing you have to know is that there is a lot of luck by there. There is space of luck when it comes to the whole bar exam, the whole oral exam experience. Sometimes, and especially if you get maybe 18 out of 20, 19 out of 20 or whatever, we feel like, what, I did it, but we don't just like appreciate that sometimes the stars just aligned in your favor, because the panel that you get to appear before also plays a very crucial part on what you're going to score or what your score is going to look like. I personally, if I remember, I appeared before Dr. Mondi and Miss Ruto. I don't know if they're still there. And when I got in there, even before I introduced myself, Dr. Mondi was like, hey, I like your suit. So you see, the fact that you appeared there and you appear to be smart even before you get to introduce yourself has already earned you some marks, because then there is marks for appearance before you go to confidence, before you go to expression, how you express yourself and stuff. And Ms. Ruto asked me, what would you want us to ask you? So I was big on civil litigation, but this is someone who teaches, is it succession? Probate, or probate and administration. So I say you can ask me questions on probate and administration, civil litigation. I had to ensure that that is there, because that was my strength. And then so she asked me something around, if someone dies in a fatal accident and he has left behind a wife and a young child, how would that wife institute a suit, right? So of course, you first have to think about grant ad litem and what have you. So I answered it that way, but then I made it a discussion so that then I'm also able to kill time nisikae for so long. And then so just ensure that you're confident enough, and also there is, of course, you're at liberty to pass questions. You can say, you can pass that. The danger in that is you're not sure whether the next question is gonna be easier or harder, and it makes you appear like someone who's not confident enough. It makes you appear like someone who doesn't know their stuff, and that is risky, because if you have a panel that is full of sadists, they're going to try and show you that you actually don't know. So me is to urge you to, one, you have to know your stuff, by the way. That's important. But above all, you have to be able to express yourself. Even if you don't know, just find something to say. And that's it. Daniel, back to you.
Oh, okay. Sorry, guys. There's a car close to me that is making so much noise. But anyway, all the same, I think you can hear me. Yes. So as Simba said, you need to know your stuff and know how to express yourself. Okay. Just know your stuff, man. Like, we are lawyers. At least I'm not saying you know everything. Oh my God, I learn every day, different things all the time. Okay? But at least just know something. Just know your stuff. At least be sure that, if it's probate, I'm able to die with it. If it's civil, these ones I know. If it's at least know what's happening. At least have an idea. Okay? At least know something, basically. Try as much as possible to know what's happening, what's going on. I mean, education-wise, at least be able to answer a few questions here and there. Just know your stuff, okay? I'm not saying you know everything. Again, just to retreat. The reason why I'm trying my best not to say you know everything is that people who will sleep, I don't know, at 1. Or they'll sleep for 2 hours and go for orals. They don't sleep at all. They're always studying, and it's nice, it's good. If you can, I mean, all the best. Very nice, do it. But try to do this as early as possible. Don't transnight just to be able to know everything. Then you go there and you've forgotten everything. Or you are asked one question and you don't know the answer to that question, and everything else that you had, crammed just goes down. And you're doing 9 units. For Christ's sake, you need to, at least you need to start early. So the earlier the better. If you're able to start now, start now. At least know what's happening. If it's probate, if you ask, for example, what Osumba was, at least know, I can start from here. I'll say this, I'll say that. Even if I don't know the answer correctly, I'll be able to talk about that, talk about this, talk about this. At least I'll let these guys know that I know what I'm talking about. Okay, I know. I have an idea of what is happening. So please, guys, start early. Just try and read. know what is happening. If you start early, you don't have to transnight. If you start early, you don't have to read 5 units at once. So just start early, just be reading these things, try to understand. If you're not understanding a particular topic, talk to your friend, have study groups, have a lot of mock exams. But again, just so you know, you can't have mock orals if you don't even have the answer to those particular questions. It won't make sense. So all the same, you still have to read, because I can't have a mock with you if you can't answer a question. For you to have a mock, you need to at least answer a few questions. Of course, there's some that will be tough. You won't be able to answer them, but that is what will help you, and that will teach you and enable you to at least work hard on the stages or the areas that you're still struggling in. And here, we'll try as much as possible to have those mock orals with you, so that every time, and look, our intention is not to make anyone feel like they know nothing. That is never our intention and has never ever been our intention. Our intention is to try and sharpen you as much as we can. Okay. So you come here, we ask you questions, we tell you, our opinion as to how you have done. You go back to your book, or you go back to your, to your own space, and see what you can improve on. Maybe it's demeanor, maybe it's how you answer the questions, maybe it's the tension and how you can control it, maybe it's you haven't really studied much, maybe it's this topic that you really do not know about, and you need to read more about it. So, and we believe that the more you practice, the better you become. So that is some of the things that is what we'll be doing here, mostly just practicing, having mock orals with you, seeing how you're able to answer those questions, so that when that time comes, you'll be like, oh, I've had this before anyway, so I know how it goes. I know how they answer the questions. I have my own tricks under my sleeve. I know how I'll do this, how I'll do that, and I'll be fine. I've done this before anyway. I'll be fine. Okay, so that is our intention, and that is what we'll be doing here. We'll be asking you questions. We'll be having mock orals with you. And we'll try to do it the same way it's done during mock exams, because at least for us, we have the privilege of doing it before. So we'll try as much as possible to do that. So please, let nobody feel intimidated. If you feel like maybe I was too hard on you, I mean, we can talk. As I've said, we're colleagues. Hit me up, tell me, oh, Daniel, I'm having issues, raising my hand of this or this, because the last time I raised my hand, it was, and we will improve. We're human beings anyway. We'll improve. But again, that doesn't mean that we're going to be so soft and, and do nothing at all. Okay. So that being that, I'll go back now to you guys. And I know you have questions. There are people who have sent me some questions, so that at least we start from there. And so I'll start with those questions. The first question that I received, questions on orals, that is, the first question was, could we also have a rundown of current issues on Jackie Maribe and Joey's case? Yeah. Okay. So this we will. So just to give directions, one thing that we'll do here is mostly to talk about the mock orals. Mostly we'll do the mock orals, but we'll try and create time and talk about these current issues. We'll try and do that. But as you guys will realize, we only meet on Saturdays. Going through the whole topic or going through each and everything that is happening could be a problem. But we will be creating sessions, maybe at the end of the mock session, to just go through the current issues, to just talk about them, and to see how someone is able to answer those questions. So again, current issues will form a big or huge part of your mock orals. There are people who will always ask you questions from current issues. Oh, the finance bill. Oh, this and this. Oh, the right to protest. Oh, the right to assemble. The right to, all these things will come up. So we'll be creating sessions where we can talk about these current issues. Then, okay, the other question that I have also is on the substantive law. Okay, so we'll create time and go through the substantive law. But just to reiterate or to emphasize, we won't have time to go through, the whole topics that you have gone through. No, the lecturers have done that, and we believe that they've done a good job. Okay, so we'll try and create time to go through current issues and a few issues here and there. The question that I usually asked, or more questions that I usually ask during the orals. What we're trying to do is just to make you feel familiar, to bring familiarity with orals, not to go into the substantive part of what you guys do. Because we will take forever here. We will take a very long time. So just to prepare you, mostly we're going to be asking questions and you're going to answer. Then we're going to see how we can improve on how we are answering these questions. But when it comes to the substance, please, I'd like to urge us to study on the side. Of course, we're going to have a few sessions here and then see, oh, we've been asking these particular questions and we see that people are struggling. Today, Osumba will go through that topic and help you guys understand it. Or today, Angelo will go through the topic and help you guys understand it. Or me, Daniel, I'll go through the topic and help you guys understand it more clearly. But we won't capture every single thing. It's not possible. Time is very limited. There's so much to do, so little time. Okay? So mostly we'll be doing the mock oral. Okay, be that as it may, those are the only questions that I have, and they're all substantive. We'd like to hear any questions from your side. Do you have any questions, anything that you'd like to know about orals before we go into the mock session? Anyone with a question, you can just raise up your hand, then you can ask the question. Yes, Susan, go ahead.
Hello. So I had this question. So let's say you are there before the panelists and you are asked a question, and at that moment you know it, but you don't know how to explain it, or you've forgotten the answer. So and then you proceed to answer other questions. Are you allowed to go back and say that as you are answering other questions, you remember the answer to that particular questions you had passed? Are you allowed to go back and answer that question?
Okay. I don't know. Angelo, would you like to answer that?
Yes. Susan, that is a very good question. Actually, you will not. You see, the examinations is for 10 minutes, and you will not have a laxity to come back later to come and answer the question that you might have forgotten or you are not in a better position to answer at the time. So what happens is you can say pass, but you will realize that in this particular discussion we'll have, we always encourage people not to say pass. But at the same time, when you don't know the question or you don't know the answer to the question, you cannot go around and maybe just answering your things, because you see the panelists, they will think that you are stupid or something like that. So there is a way to say it, and we'll show you how you can pass the question politely. Yes.
Okay, and thank you.
Just to add to what Angela said, again, if you realize that, I've asked you the first question, you have no answer, okay? The second question, you have no answer. The third question, you have no answer. Then I ask you the fourth question, you have no answer, but you remember the answer to the first question. Yeah, I don't think it's jail. It's a straight jacket. You could ask for the indulgence and ask, okay, I don't know the answer to that question, but I just remembered the answer to the first question. Could you kindly allow me to answer? I mean, you're an advocate. You're an advocate. We are always praying for issues to be heard and this and that. So if you are able to, and of course, this also depends on the panel, whether they'll agree or not, you can always ask if they would allow you to answer the question that they asked you the first time and you didn't have the answer to. Now, again, that is my take. That is my take. Me, I'd try. I'd just indulge them and say, okay, I don't know the answer to this question, but I just remembered the answer to the first question. Can I please answer that question? Then, if they're good people, they'll tell you. I mean, it's one thing I know. It's not a straight jacket, Susan. It's not a straight jacket. And if you get good people, they'll allow you to. You can always go back and answer that particular question and answer it well. So you can always, even if it's such a tough panel, you can always ask. let them be the ones to refuse, but don't be scared to say, oh, actually, I have. But if you know the answer to the second question, I mean, move on. Because the third question, you know the answer, move on. The fourth question, the verse, you know the answer, move on. The fifth question, you know the answer, move on. Okay. And even as you talk, even as you finish, even as you give your closing statement, you're like, oh, by the first question that you asked me, I think the answer, be as fast as possible. I think the answer is this. And I mean, that could be the reason as why you're getting 19. Okay. My opinion, what I would do as Daniel. Sumba, what do you think?
I agree with you. Well, as I said, you see, we had different experiences with our panelists. Personally, I think there's a question I was asked by Ms. Ruto, and I wasn't quite sure. So I asked that I be allowed to think about it a bit, but then they proceed to ask me other questions. And then when I finished, I asked if I could answer, and they give me the leeway to do so. So I think it depends on your panel, and it's important that at least take the first second when you walk in there to just create an impression. I mean, it's not, those guys are your lecturers, they teach you. It's not like it's some prison and you should be scared and be trembling. It's a very normal thing. You take it normally. It's actually a conversation. And one thing that I wanted to say, my approach to orals, and when we were going towards the orals, we invited someone to talk to us about it, someone who was in KSL before. And he told us one thing that I'm going to share with you guys, that you see as advocates who are in training now, questions will always be part of you as long as you intend to be a practitioner, unless maybe you become an academic, so that then it's always you who's telling people and asking questions. But if you intend to be a practitioner, questions will always be there. And if you're a courtroom practitioner, then questions are part and parcel of what you do on a daily basis. So that knowledge is critical because it is going to be part of your life. You're going to be making submissions, highlighting submissions, and a judge or a magistrate asks you a question. And we've seen these with these high-profile cases, Kina BBI, and all these other issues. So it's part of life. Take it as any other normal thing, but I still would insist on just take a bit of time to read a little bit of everything. It's gonna help you, and then also a bit of current affairs that is related to the practice of law. I mean, there's so much that's going on. So of course, some of those things you don't have to read. You just watch news. I think if you're on X, then you're able to watch news follow up news from all over the world. So I think that would be my take.
Thank you. Yeah, guys. So yeah, it's I think that is very clear. And yeah, Susan, thank you so much for that particular question. And yeah, doesn't mean that what Angelo is said doesn't happen. You'll get lecturers who are like that. I mean, one question after another, before you know it, it's done, and you're out of that room, and you're going home, and that's just it. Yeah, but if you're able to indulge them, and if you create a good rapport, just as Osumba said, I mean, you'll be able to, go back and tell them, I don't have the answer right now, but allow me to think about it, even as I answer the other question. I mean, and you can do that, and you can ask for their indulgence, and you'll be able to, talk about it. Okay, but again, you could get lecturers like they're probably the one that Angelo got. I mean, let's do this and move on. I'm going to the next person. The list is long. Okay, but it's not a straight jacket, as I've said. It's a conversation. Sawa. Thank you guys for that. Next question. Again, how this will work is you ask, we answer. You ask, we answer. It will be beautiful. It will really help. But where you are quiet, we don't know what the problem is. Anyone? The next question, just be free. Any question? Any other? Be free, guys. You know that. Just be free. We are colleagues. Anyone with any other question?
Daniel, I have a few questions in the chat.
Oh, the question in the chat. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yes, one is saying, what are the chances that one would appear before a lecturer that teaches him or her?
What do you think?
Yeah, that thing happens most of the time. I would say 50-50, 50%. For me, my criminal litigation lecturer was my panelist, and most of the panels, one or two, you may, or others you may not. Okay, so it is not given, but there are high chances. There's no way like everyone will not appear before the lecturer, but there are a few who will not meet the lecturers. Okay, you see this list is random, and then the panelists, you don't know them until the next day. So yes, I don't know what is your opinion, Odur.
Yeah, I agree with you. Agree with you. I think it's sort of, it's, you never know, really. Yes. The people who will meet their lecturer, the people who will not meet their lecturer. It's random. It's so random. You're not able to, you don't really know. But you could. And by then sometimes meeting your lecturer could be the end of you. They're not meeting your lecturer. Sometimes not meeting your lecturer could be the end of you. Than meeting your so basically it's whatever, man. You just do your stuff. Yeah. Don't really worry about meeting your lecturer or not meeting your lecturer or just as we've said, know your stuff and you'll be good to go. The chances are, you never know, 50-50. It will happen, it might not happen. Asumba?
Maybe just to add my voice to that. You see, meeting your lecturer by there, I don't think it has any advantage. I have a classmate, because you see now for us, we had the advantage or the disadvantage of doing KSL purely online. So sometimes the lecturer would be there teaching, but someone has accidentally unmuted and you can hear music on the background. So actually it was Kimwele. Kimwele taught us LPM. So when this colleague of ours appeared before him and he introduced himself, the first thing was like, so you were the one who unmuted and was playing loud music in my class. And you see that already like tells you, it has already set the tone for those 10 minutes you'll be there. Whether you appear before someone who teaches your notes, you should be able to like just do your stuff right. The advantage, of course, if you appear before your lecturer and someone who participates in class, then they may give you some marks in terms of this one is already, and I'm going to be honest here. If you're being taught by Mungare and it's civil litigation and you do participate in class, if you appear before her, be guaranteed you're gonna get not less than 15. But even if you don't appear before someone who teaches you, I really would wish that you be confident in your mind and just show them how sharp you are and how ready you are.
Thank you. Yeah. So really, it's just like that. That's just how it is. I think that is very clear. I can't belabor that point. Angelo?
Yes, Odur, I wanted to suggest, can we maybe answer the questions maybe like the way we normally do towards the end of the session so that we can start? Or what do you think?
I was thinking today we just at least have an introduction, be easy.
Okay.
Yeah. So that we
Very
can
well.
have the session before. Yeah. So if
Very
the question long time, it's fine. We can have the session at the end, maybe 1 or 2. But I was thinking today we can just be easy and have an introduction with them.
All right. Thank you. So a second question. What if you know the general knowledge about a specific question or case, but you don't know the correct section, or you know the facts of a case, yet you have forgotten the name of the case? What will you do in that circumstances?
Okay, I think I can answer that. Are there so many questions, Angelo, on the chat? So that maybe we all take one. If someone wants to.
Yeah, there are two more.
Okay. So in my this is what I'd like to say. If you know a case but you can't remember, for me, what worked for me is in a decided case, this and this and this and this and this and this was held. Okay. Worked for me with the lecturer I appeared before. In a decided case, the judges held that this and this and this and this in a decided case. Okay. I apologize. I don't really remember the exact name of this case, but in a decided case, it was held that negligence is this. Duty of care is this. In fact, in that case, this and this and this and this and this and this and this happened. And that is very similar to this particular case that you've asked me. And so I believe this and this and this and this and this is the answer. Again, one thing that I always like to reiterate, guys, we are learning. It's very important that we understand the substance of the law. We are not crammers. And in my opinion, I don't think it's my duty to cram. Of course, if I can remember the section, and again, the more you do something, the more you remember. The more you do something, even if you meet someone for the first time, you might even struggle with their names. But if you've met them, you met them anyway. Okay. So one thing that I'd like us to do is, and thank you so much for the question, because sometimes people really struggle of, I have to say Article 35. I have to say Article 33 says this. In my opinion, yes, the ones that you can remember, spill them out. Let the lecturers know you know them. If you ask a question, you know the answer, you know what the law says, but you do not remember the exact the exact section, just say the Constitution says this. The Constitution states, the Land Act states, it is provided for in the Registration Act that the Land Registration Act that, if this is the case, this and this and this and this and this is the process. I don't think we are not robots, in my opinion. It is important that we understand the substance of the law, the spirit of the law. It's very important that we do. And so we don't end up saying the law is clear, but you don't even understand the law is clear, but okay, what is the rationale behind the law? So where you don't know the exact provision, you don't know whether it's section 35 or 36, just say the Constitution provides, or the Constitution states that this and this, you have the right to assemble, the Constitution provides that I have the right to protest, so long as the right is peaceful. In fact, these are the elements of a peaceful protest. In a decided case, the judges held that this and this and this and this and this is what negligence is. When you say duty of care, it's this and this and this and this. That worked for me. That is how I was able to navigate through it and everything. But the ones I could remember the exact section, guys, I told the lecturers, I let them know that I remember that particular section of the Constitution or of whatever statute it was. Okay, so the ones you can remember, talk about them. The ones you can't remember, say the Land Act provides, the Land Registration Act provides, the Constitution provides or states this, this, and this. In a decided case, the judges held this, and this, and this. Worked for me. I hope it also works for you, and I hope it makes sense for you. That would be my answer. Angelo, I don't know if I've answered everything.
Yes, you have. And actually, if you don't know the decision at the time or the section of law, for example, for me, I would say like the Law of Succession Acts provides that, or it is stated, because there's no need for you to say a wrong section if you can just state the position of the law. Then again, you remember in oral sometime, for example, I can ask you what was the holding in the case of the National Bank of Kenya versus Anaj Warehousing Limited. You see? Or someone will give you what was decided there and maybe they want you to comment on it. So you will be required to know a few cases here and there, Adan versus Republic. What does it cover? Okay, there will be those, for example, now it would be expected, because especially now on these times of protests, has been claimed that the Article 37 has been interpreted So it might be an expectation for most of the panelists that you know the authority that has actually interpreted Article 37. Therefore, when you go there and you won't be able to comment on it because you realize even right now before you do your oral, something will come, not even the finance bill, because it is like Kenya is a movie. Eh? There is always something happening. Now it is finance bill. After that, I can assure you something else will come. The other time it was Shakahola, and no one is talking about Shakahola right now. So that one will tell you during the time of orals, by then it will be something else. Like now there is this issue of law now, the aspect of recalling of MPs. Okay? And High Court has already commented on that. So you will be really, really expected to comment and to know the law regarding the recalling of members of parliament or the MCAs. So it is something that is transient. It cannot stay in one place, and that will be a challenge. I know I have been sending you authorities in your group, but yes, that is what I can say. If you don't know, then you say in a decided case, or in a certain case, I cannot remember properly, but this was the principle. Yeah.
Thank you. Osumba, I think that's clear. Nice. All right. Donna, welcome. We're just answering questions. The next question, Angelo.
Yes, before we go to the next question, we have Magabe Gati. I don't know if it is his or her hand is up. Maybe they can before I read these other questions.
Yes,
Magabe, you
thank
can
you.
unmute.
Yes, I wanted to ask, what is the least mark someone can get if he or she fails to answer any of the questions asked?
All right, my learned friend Osumba, you can answer that. Thank you.
You'll get 3. I know somebody who got 3 out of 20. But you see, for her, I mean, it was chaotic because her dressing fast. I mean, and especially for ladies, you know, there is that dress code for advocates. You're an advocate in training. That's why the program is called Advocates Training Program. So, I mean, just try to dress decently. Dress like you're someone who's going to appear before Justice Majani or somebody. So for her dressing first was chaotic. And then you go in there and those guys, she froze and she couldn't even introduce herself. So those little things, I've seen someone asking about the best shoe to wear for ladies and stuff. I mean, whatever works for you, as long as it is decent. Keyword is decency. If it's a skirt, if you decided to do a skirt suit, just have it, just around the knee or just a little bit above the knee would do you good. And with a nice blouse and those coati and stuff. But you can legit get 3 or even 2. I'm not scaring you guys, but that's the truth.
Thank you. Angelo, you wanted to say something?
Yes. Thank you, Osumba. Even now here we had someone who got a 3, and you see circumstances might be different, eh? But like I told you before, when you step in that particular examination room, the least you can have is like a 6. But you see, if it now goes to the stage whereby you get a 3, then you know very well that things are really gone so bad for you. But just to say the least, sometime, things are now changing. So if you are, for one reason or the other, you are unable to answer questions, so you can just recuse yourself. You can just ask for permission to go and breathe outside a little. They can call you later as long as you do your examinations between 9 and 5, or sometime it can go to 6. So you can ask them to indulge you. I have had a few of my colleagues, you can go, you take tea, and then you come back again. okay? Because they are not just there to mess you up. They also want you to pass your exams, because oral examinations is critical part of advocate training program, and no one would definitely want you to get a 3. So you can go breathe a little, and then you will be called last. So now at the end, then now it become a problem. Maybe you will be unable to answer, because I have not seen people deferring. Like if you are there and you say you can come tomorrow because you see it is a program that people will be examining today, others tomorrow, like that. I don't know if there can be a way you will be exempted from doing yours, such that you can now do it at the end of the oral examinations. I don't know. But Odur, maybe you can say something.
Yeah. So I think for me, guys, at least get the marks for dressing up. Just dress up. Just be decent. As a super say, just be decent. At least get those marks. Okay. So just be decent. Okay. And at least just introduce yourself. So at least you have the 7 or the 6. Then when it comes to sorry, what you said, Angelo, asking for room to, in court, you'd ask for your file to be placed aside and you'll deal with it later. If you have a good panel, yes, then they'll allow you to, they'll place your file aside. You'll come later. If you have crazy ones and they're really careful with the time, you'll just have to proceed as is. But yes, we pray and hope that you get good ones so that they allow you to come at last. And one thing that, again, the way Angela said correctly, you can always ask. Always just indulge. You can always ask. One thing with advocates, you can always ask, however crazy it is. Can I, you can always ask. You can always make applications during these processes. Yeah. But at least get the marks for dressing up correctly. At least have those marks. I hope that's okay, Mugabe.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Angela?
Yes, I believe the next question, maybe our very own, the other Odur now, because I believe Daniel and I and Osumba will not be in a good place to answer this one. For ladies, which is best, flat shoes or heels?
Donna?
Donna?
Hello, everyone. Sorry, I am late to the meeting. I was immersed in the Kenyan problems. But yeah, here we are. I hope you're all holding on well with KSL. Yeah, don't get distracted. Okay, uchumi ni mbaya, but then you need to get the license. So the best flat shoe or heels, really, I can't tell. Personally, I can't walk with heels. But we were advised that just get any comfortable shoe. Usiende na viatu utaenda hapo uanguke. Just get closed shoe. Don't go with open shoe unless uko na shida ya mguu, which now you'll have to explain that. But just have some decent closed shoe. Si lazima ubuy viatu mpya. Just go with something that is decent, obviously yenye haijararuka. Just be decent generally, how you present yourself. Yeah, there is no specific. And for heels, we're being advised that don't go with those that will make too much noise. Yeah, but you people will have some session. You'll be advised on all that. But for preparation sake, just go with something comfortable that will not be chaotic when you get into the room.
Nice. Angela, is there another question?
Yes, we have 2 more or 3. And guys, that is the answer from Donna. What I know is that on that material day or days, people are always beautiful, people are always smart, people are always handsome. And if you are looking for the 10th P, because you will meet people that day. You see people are studying online, others are virtual, others are physical. You never know, because you will meet people that day and you will be happy. The other day, it is something called Gala, KSL Gala. Well, okay. But all in all, just be among those people who will be said that you are really, really smart on that day. Your lecturers will see it, and someone will ask you out for chai. Anyway, having said that, there is this question, Daniel. What are the chances that you can apply to change your date if the date you see on the list is not favorable? Maybe there is something you can comment on quickly, Daniel?
Yeah, I think Osumba, you are a deep state. Is it possible?
I'm not sure. I think you may, but you have to do it prior. The timetable is usually released. Is it a week or 2 weeks before? I'm not sure. Kwanza orals ni lini by this time round. I hope that they still have time. But you should really have a good reason. For example, I think we've had cases of and especially now for our beautiful colleagues, if you expectant and then you have to go deliver on the material day, or your delivery expected to be on that very day, you can always change, but it has to be like with prior arrangements. You don't just wake up and say, let me just kick kwenda. You'll get zero.
Yes, as has been said by the deep state himself, huh? You don't have a choice here, because it is like when you are doing your KCSE and then now you are doing paper 2, but now since the date is not convenient, now you want to do it some other time, because there are strict timelines to do it. So there are those exceptional circumstances, like the very good reason that my learned friend has just said. Or maybe when you are sick and maybe sick, but you have to give that particular notice. Okay? Because this is something that you have to do. It is as advocates sometimes we tell the judge or the magistrate, "Yeah, my lord, that date is not convenient." Okay? Yeah, it is not convenient. But you see, when you appear before someone like Majanja, he will just tell you, my friend, these dates are for the courts. They are not your dates. So where go enda ujipange, these are the dates by the court. So you don't have the luxury to say that the date is not favorable to you. Okay, I don't know if we have answered you, Asiko, Paveli. All right.
Yes, it's clear. Thank you.
All right. I believe you have also written another question that says, is it true that they allow you to enter with the act? And if so, how much can you rely on? Donna, maybe you can comment on it quickly. I don't know if things have changed. You are the latest person to get the prestigious nine piece, unless you had the other one.
I've not had you.
Okay. Do they use act?
Pardon the question.
The question.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
Donna, go ahead. We can't hear you, Donna.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Oh, I was asking, could Angelo, pardon the question, I couldn't get it well. Act or act.
Okay, the question is saying, is it true that they allow you to enter with the act? I assume a statute or an act of parliament, and if so, how much can you rely on it? That is the question.
So the last time I went there, you just get in with your brain. You're not supposed to get in with any material, I remember, because we were told you only need your ID. I think the national ID and the school ID yenye utaacha hapo mbele. And then you just get into the room, so you don't need to have any sort of act. Yeah. Unless now the other rules, I don't think you're supposed to get with anything other than the content you'll be harboring on that day.
Yes, I assume that is still the position. I understand things do change, but all I know, maybe during the bar exams, there will be that one examination that you will be allowed to go with your penal code, or is it criminal procedure? Yes, the penal code, and that is during the bar exam. So it is not now. This time round, you'll be armed with your brain, your national ID, and your student ID. Those are the things that you will carry on that day. Daniel, there is this question. How many questions can one be asked on approximate? How many questions are there go?
Okay, I think for me it's 33 questions, because I think I was asked 6 questions. But again, I think it depends on how fast you're answering your questions. If you take too long to answer questions, then of course at some point they'll stop you there. They'll tell you, you're getting into the nitty-gritties, you're going too far, and we don't need you to go that far. But normally it would be 6 questions, 3 questions from one, 3 questions from the other. I think for me that was it. And the small questions here and there, which team do you support? If you get a lecturer, of course, who wants to break the ice with you and create some banter. If you get one who doesn't, again, you'll go there, 3 questions from one lecturer, 3 questions from the other lecturer, and that's it. So a total of 6 questions. My experience.
Yes, that is it on average. It depends on how long you take, and we will advise you during our training here. We'll try to see how you can manage your answers. Some years back, Daniel would say, don't go to Mombasa. Cynthia, you are unmuted. Please, you can mute. Yeah, you can go to Mombasa, go to Nakuru, finance bill. Your camera is okay. Please, thank you. And then you demonstrate finance bill, and then now you come and answer your question. So sometime we'll advise, just hit the nail on the head and try to impress your panel. And finally, guys, the question is this. Normally we would say, just raise your hand and ask us the questions, and then we'll answer. Because you see, it is a conversation, and we are all lawyers. So you don't need to write your questions, but if it is comfortable this way, it is fine, but we would prefer that you just raise your hand and ask your questions. That way, you see, it is also part of training. Finally, guys, is it true that they are usually biased where a lady wears a trouser suit? Yeah, Magabe, I will come to you. Thank you. Sumba, would you like to take that? And then maybe Odur can comment. Donna?
Not really. I mean, there's no bias, because ladies do trouser suits to court. The issue is decency. I mean, is it decent enough? They say, there's no prejudice, there's no bias. So don't worry, just go and have your fundi do a nice suit for you, and you're gonna rock on that day. And I think, as Angela said, I would really prefer that instead of our colleagues typing the questions in the chats, they should just voice them out, because it's also a way of building your confidence. If you can talk to 77 people, shows you're confident enough.
Yes, that is it. Thank you, Osumba. By the way, no bias. I don't know, but I there's none. Just let your tailor do something good or something nice with you. To a certain extent, they will be skeptical maybe on your skirts, like the way Osumba was saying before. If it is too high, then you see they will start commenting. Or maybe when you do your nails, I don't know, they are yellow or they are green or something, or they are too long. I don't know those long nails. Yeah, but so far so good. I don't think there are some bias in that regard. So Magabe, you can proceed. You can unmute. Maybe we'll now proceed and maybe have a short session before, and then we'll pick it up later. Yes, proceed.
Yes, I wanted to ask what is the criteria used in scheduling people for orals? Like, is it based on when one cleared fees or what?
Okay, thank you. I know during my time, the early you clear your fees, the people who pay first, I don't know if I assume people join and you are required to pay on that day, or maybe something like that, but it was something related to fees. Those who have cleared or who paid first, they will be the first one to be listed. I don't know, but maybe my colleagues will comment on that. Because my assumption is that when you join, then you have paid the 145. Daniel, maybe you can comment.
Yeah, I think for me, by the time you're doing orals, most people will have paid their fees by that time. Of course, you'll have a few people who have not finished paying their fees, but by that time, most people will have paid their fees. So they'll just use that list to decide and to distribute them to different places. So I don't think, yeah, maybe the people will not have paid their fees, but it won't be such a huge number that is what they have to use to distribute people for orals. They'll just use the list that they have and they'll distribute people. Then for the guys who are yet to pay their fees, they'll also pay their fees and they'll be distributed to particular lecturers and given particular dates. Mugabe. I don't think there's any other formula that is used. Is that okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. You
All
can
right.
see there's another hand somewhere.
Yes, there's another hand. We have Macharia Wendy. Please
Yes,
unmute.
I think I saw a breakdown somewhere that there are marks for courtesy. Now I'm wondering if saying thank you for that question is an overkill after every question you're asked.
Osumba, you can take this one.
That's a bit difficult. I didn't really say. I'll try maybe find that marking scheme for roles within the week, and maybe we can share during the next meeting. I hope there's a next meeting. If it's not, then I'll just wish you guys well and pray for you. I don't think there's marks for being courteous. Did I say that really? I don't think so. But it is not bad. See, it is not bad to just say, okay, personally, I just said thank you when I was leaving. Because again, thank you after every question would be a bit too much. Do you even have the time to do that though? I don't think so. But I'm not saying it's bad. You can actually do it because maybe naturally you're just a courteous person, which is really good. But I'd advise that because you see, it's the same way if you go to court and you're making oral submissions and your honor, you look a bit, I don't know how to put it, but I don't think it is necessary. you can just say thank you on your way out as a way of, because marks are awarded as you leave. So probably they can consider that.
All right. Thank you, Osumba. Daniel, or is it Odur? Or Daniel Odur? Oh, Donna. Then Daniel.
Funny, Angelo. Donna.
Donna.
Okay, so when it comes to courtesy, there's a lecturer, I can't remember who told us that some of them hate it when you actually have to say thank you for that question, thank you for that question after every question. Saying thank you is really not the mark of courtesy. Courtesy may even come in, there are sometimes maybe how you express or your facial expression may also be interpreted to be courtesy. Courtesy is not all about saying thank you. So don't say thank you after every question. You can say it maybe once or just desist from saying that. And maybe when you're leaving, once you're done, once they're done asking you questions, is when maybe you can just say thank you as you leave. And I don't think you'll be penalized for not saying thank you. Thank you for that question, or thank you for that very good question. In fact, I would advise against that. Just answer the question, answer it courteously, like the words you use, your facial expression. Yeah, that's basically it. Kuna mtu atakwambia ati no, you're not getting marks because you've not said thank you for that question. No.
All right. Thank you, Donna. Yes, Honorable Daniel Odur. I can confirm they are not brother and sister, just for the record.
Angelo. Yeah, anyway, guys, just the way Donna said, I would, you see, what really matters is intention, man. You can tell me thank you every time I talk to you, but you're not really being courteous. You just want to win my favor or something. And once I realize that is your intention, your thank you will not matter. So I don't think, you just go there and try to, lie to these people and try to get marks by doing everything. What? You could even brush their shoes then. So really, there's no, you don't have to wipe the floor to get a mark. That's not it. Okay, you have rights and those rights are protected, and you're free. You're a free person. So I know people have talked about that, and I think there's a time we've had horrors and everyone is saying, oh, what is your name? Thank you for that question. My name is okay. Which class are you in? Thank you for that question. You guys can imagine. You can imagine. Which group are you in? Thank you for that question. I mean, nah. Like, that's just too much. Okay, let it not be like that. And that's something, intention really matters. The way Donna said, could even be your facial expression. Okay, but let it be genuine. Let it not be thank you for that just because you want marks. And for me, even as a lecturer, once I realize that, I give you no marks because you didn't come so that you say thank you to me, then I give you marks. You get. So just as Osumba said, go straight into the questions. If you want to be courteous, honestly want to be courteous, and that's okay. That is good. You don't have to say thank you after every question. Okay, just answer the questions, and you'll be fine. You'll be good, and you have rights. You don't have to wipe the floor to get marks. Angela, I think now we'll go back to you.
Yes. Thank you. For that. Thank you for that. Yes. Yeah, you see, Daniel. Actually, there is one lecturer. I don't know if she teaches LPM. No, she teaches probate. What is her name? This antagonist of Mrs. Ruto. How is she called? Anastasia. Yes. She really don't like when you say thank you for that question. You see, for her, she think that you are wasting her time. But what I say is, when you are relaxed there and you are having conversation with these people, it is good to be courteous, but imagine if every question you are saying thank you for that question. Even in some questions, you are not even required to say thank you for that question. Okay, you can say at first thank you for that question. You can actually say your question raises these issues. Let's say maybe there are issues relating to let's say finance bill. I believe it will be Finance Act during your orals. Okay, but there are questions that will be straight. But imagine if the question is someone is telling you that state for me 3 ways of attacking a plane, and then you tell someone your question raises this issue. That question does not raise any issue. It is actually basically asking you the ways of attacking a plane. But now when I'm telling you about maybe someone called Ian Joroge was arrested, has beaten a police and stuff like that, then someone is asking you, you have been instructed by Ian Joroge, what is the first thing are you going to do? Okay, that is a very interesting question. Okay, but you cannot say thank you for that question. For me, I would say you can say that is an interesting question. Your question raises these issues. Thank you for that question. Or altogether, you can do away with them and just answer the questions as presented. Okay, that is what I can say in that regard. So if there are no other questions, I think I can hand the mic back to you, Odor, Daniel.
Thank you. Thank you for handing the mic back to me. Okay. So guys, I hope we don't have any other question. Yeah, and I hope that session was quite clear. Do we have any question? Please feel free before we move on, because after this session, every time we are going to, and Osumba, yes, we have this every Saturday until they do their orals. Yeah, and as we've told them clearly, they are free. I know Angela will not call you and ask you for money. Neither will Donna. Neither will Osumba. Nobody will. You just wait for that link. Click it on Saturday evening. Let's enjoy life. Okay. So, any other question? Is there any person with another question? Is there any question before we close? Agor.
Oh, yes, thank you. I have a question. When it comes to being asked questions, do lecturers, like, do they consult each other on topics that we've covered? Because apparently in commercial law, commercial transaction, we've been doing data protection for like 7 weeks. So we don't know what we're going to be asked. Maybe if you find yourself being asked commercial questions, will they consider that fact?
Okay, so for me, before I was asked a question, they asked me, where have you reached in probate? Oh, we've reached here. Then the questions would fall under that particular realm that I've talked about. For me, yeah. So I don't think they really have to consult and me, I've taught until here, but they'll ask you. Okay, like for me, I was asked, where have you reached? And the question, okay, in another instance is you could be asked a question, but you'll be like, okay, we haven't tackled that topic yet, so I do not really know the answer. But after this session, I'm going to ensure that I read the notes, read ahead, and ensure that I know the answer to that. Because they also understand that, probably there are topics that maybe you might not have handled. Okay? Then once you say that, they'll say, where have you reached? What have you done so far? You'll tell them, for 8 weeks now, we've only been doing data protection in commercial transactions. And so I bet the questions will only fall under data protection. Osumba? I think commercial transactions is... Osumba, anyway, go ahead.
I don't know, I'm just curious who teaches Agor CT. But as you've said, I mean, they'll probably ask you, but if you asked a question that is outside the scope of what you have been taught, you have a right to say that. You have a right to say that, unfortunately, we have not covered that topic. Of course, you say in a nice way. And I think Angelo told you see, guys, as opposed to so many people, because I'm aware that guys who train people and they charge a fee and all that, mostly I have nothing against what they do, but then they self-here, as we're not here to do that. The honest truth is Those lecturers are not there to ensure that you fail. Understand that. So you have a right to say we have not been taught that, and then obviously they'll ask you, okay, where have you reached? And then they'll ask you a question from there. They're not there to make you fail. People fail because they don't do what you guys are doing now, listening to those who have been there before, but also because they're just not prepared, if I may say that.
Yeah, Agor, I think that is, yeah. You're saying something, Agor?
I was saying thank you.
Okay, all right. Okay, do you have any other questions, guys? I don't think we do. Okay, so there being no questions.
It's
If
just Daniel.
Yes, there's a question.
No, there's no question. Just to comment on one thing. You see, there is a session that Donna stated before. Actually, the assistant director, ATP, will actually tell you if you have not been taught something, you are free to tell the members of the panel and they will indulge you in that regard. Okay? So don't worry, just bring it to the attention and everything will be all right. Having said that, it is good. If we imagine you have been studying data protection for 7 weeks or 7 months, 7 weeks. So what are the chances that you are likely to cover the rest of the topics within that particular course? So it now becomes a challenge on you to ensure that you have studied. Okay, like umesoma, because I can assure you term 3 is the shortest of all. Okay, and now you don't have the freedom that we had last time, whereby we finish the course this year and then you will do your exams sometime the other year. You are doing your examinations in November. So if someone is not, let's say, doing what they are supposed to do, then you have to read ahead. You have to train yourself, because I can tell you for a fact, those CLE guys will not know that you have not been taught MPSR or companies or partnerships. They will bring questions there because they have met already with your teachers. Maybe even right now they are setting the exams. So like professional ethics, you may not finish it for someone who are taught by some lecturers. So it will need that you have to put in the hours, the ones that we were talking about before. Don't wait on your lecturer to finish the syllabus for you. Thank you.
All right. I think that was very clear. Yeah. Now, since we don't have any other question, Angela, I hope the chat box is clear. We can move forward to the next part. Yeah, I'm hoping we'll be done early today, being our first meeting. But yeah, is there anyone who is ready for a mock session? Anyone who is ready for a mock session? Anyone who'd like to try a mock session? Anyone who'd like to try a mock session? Yes, Kamau. Kamau Wangari.
Yes, we have two people. We have Kamau and we have Bavli. So Kamau Wangari will go first, then we will have Asiko.
Will go, yeah, Beverly will go after. Kamau, how are you? Wangari, so.
Hey, good evening.
Good evening, how are you doing?
I'm well.
Okay, thank you so much for volunteering. That is very, very, very nice. Okay, so Osumba, I think you can go with Donna. Then me and Angelo will check on Beverly. I hope that's okay, Osumba. So maybe you can start, then Donna. Okay. You can start. Donna, maybe you can be getting ready.
So, Wangari, good evening.
Good evening.
Mine is the easiest of all. What are the elements of adverse possession?
include
I didn't
have
hear you.
stayed the person who is claiming to the adverse possession must have stayed in a said land for 12 years without being distracted or continuously.
That's okay.
Okay.
There are two others.
I
Right.
can't
So,
remember any other.
of course, 12 years is the statutory period, and then you must have gotten into the land with the knowledge of the registered proprietor, but without their permission. Because when there is permission, then you cannot claim adverse possession. And then, as you've said, you must have occupied it openly without interruption. I would have given you full marks. My last question would be, when do pleadings close?
Pleadings close when 14 days after the last person has rendered their pleadings. For example, if you're a plaintiff and the defendant, and the defendant either has also rendered their pleadings, and if they have not after 14 days, and if they have 14 days after they have entered their pleadings.
Okay, that is okay. That is okay. Thank you. I agree with you. And where there is a reply to the defense, then pleadings would close 14 days after the reply. So basically, I think the safest answer should be 14 days after service of the last document. So the last document can either be a statement of defense or reply to statement of defense. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
So Donna
Okay,
can.
good. Thank you. Good evening, Kamau Wangari, Miss Kamau.
Good evening.
So assume you before the panel. Kindly introduce yourself.
Hey, good evening. My name is Lilian Wangari. Admission number 2024.
Okay, thank you, Kamau. Sorry, thank you, Lilian. So I'll just ask you maybe two questions. So the first, are you familiar with the case of National Bank versus Anaj Warehousing?
I'm actually not familiar with that case. Maybe.
Okay, that's good. And maybe could you give now 3 roles of advocates in conveyancing?
It depends. Okay, advocates have different roles when it comes to conveyancing. It normally depends if you are representing either the vendor or the purchaser. But it also comes, let's say for instance you're acting for the vendor. For the purchaser, you have to do the searches and searches and the requisitions, just to make sure that your client gets a good title. Also look if the client has if the purchaser you're representing has enough money. Yes, and to help in the registering of the title.
Thank you for that. And maybe the last question, what are 3 methods of acquiring a title to land? Lillian, did you get the question?
Maybe you can rephrase. I haven't understood the question.
What are 3 methods or ways in which you can acquire title to land?
You can do it transfer. It can be transferred to someone. Can also be gifted. Thing that I remember.
Okay, thank you. That was a good trial. So the first thing I asked you was to introduce yourself. So when you told to introduce yourself, yeah, you'll say your name, your admission number, the class you're in. That's also recommended, the class you're in and your firm. And then the second question I asked you was about ANAJ, National Bank versus Anajua Housing. So just take your time and go and read that case. I think it's in the first units of conveyancing, and some part of it should also be in professional ethics. It's a very common case, so just have it at your fingertips. And then for role of advocates, maybe I was not clear. I had asked about the general role, so maybe you'd have given something like taking instructions, investigating the title, drafting the various instruments, though even if the ones you'd said concerning the different advocates, the specific maybe vendors and purchasers was also okay, because I was not quite clear on that. But you can go and read on that. And the last question I asked was on methods of acquiring title to land. So go and read section 7 of the Land Act. Yeah, so that was a very good trial considering it's your first time. So yeah, congratulations, that is good. Daniel, take the floor.
Yes.
My opinion on her performance, or
no, we were now to take the next volunteer.
okay, but just to say something, I think first of all, I think you did very well volunteering. History now will have it that you are the first volunteer for this year, which is a very good thing. So congratulations, man. I'm so proud of you. That was really good. And I think you also performed well. And the way I usually say, at least have an idea. If when I ask you a question and you have no idea at all, it becomes a bit of a problem. But you knew your stuff. You had answers. If I was on the panel and you're the first person to be asked all these questions, I'd give you an 18, man. 18. I think I don't know if that is very generous, but I think you did a very good job. So big up to yourself, man. Angela, I think maybe you can start.
Yes. Thank you for that, Daniel. and for is her name Wangare. That was really good. You have realized that you actually had an idea for all the questions that you were asked. At least you should sleep well tonight. Okay. But now imagine if you could now go back to that particular section 7. Okay. I believe there are about 7 ways. I'm not a conveyancer. I do litigation. I don't know if there are 7 or there are 6. Okay. Such that next time if anyone asks you, then you will be good to go. A night housing, and that is National Bank of Kenya Limited versus a nice housing limited, Supreme Court of Kenya. Which decision? Because now you don't read that one alone. Okay, there is that. Is it Wilson Dolo case, Court of Appeal? Then you juxtapose it, look at it in terms of Section 34 of the Advocates Act. Look at it as Section 34B, or is it 34A? 34B, whatever, you will go and check there, because there was a law now that was introduced now in terms of the types or the validity of documents prepared by several persons, those persons in the category of Brian Mwendo, or is it Mwenda? You will see there what the Supreme Court has said about those kind of documents that are prepared by people who have not taken out their practicing certificates. That is, you should be proud of yourself. So now our very own Astiko Beverly, you can unmute. Then Okile Michael, you will come next after her. Thank you for raising your hand. All right, Beverly, please assume our session this is in the morning. So please introduce yourself.
Okay.
Good
morning.
morning.
My name is.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes,
Yes,
please
my name
introduce
is
yourself.
My name is Beverly Asiko. I'm in class F. Afternoon class is virtual. My admission number is 2024 1849. Yeah.
Are you not in any farm at the Kenya School of
Oh,
Law?
I'm in farm number 16 of class F.
Very well, very well. Can you please tell me 3 ways of attacking a plane?
Pardon, 3 ways of attacking
a plane?
Plane.
Yes.
Okay. You can attack. You can reply to a plane either by filing a defense.
Excuse me, someone's camera is on. Opimbi, Lynn, please mind your privacy. Opimbi, Lynn, all right. Thank you. Yes, please proceed. Sorry for that.
Okay, I think by this you mean by replying to a plane to answer yourself is a plane as a as a as a defendant. So I'm going to. You can first of all file a defense, or you can have a out of court settlement, or you can file for arbitration.
Okay, thank you for that. Can you please name for me 3 ways you can respond to an application?
An application.
Pardon?
Okay. For an application can be replied to by way of submission. I think I know submission, or you can reply with a preliminary objection, or you can also go for negotiation.
Okay, that is good. Finally, my last question is, can you please tell me why did you want to become a lawyer?
I believe that in law you can help in seeking justice for the purpose of seeking justice, and also to be able to learn more about how the justice system works, and also to be able to help others who might be needing the help of the law.
Okay, thank you. Daniel Odur, you can take it away.
Hi, Beverly.
Hi, how are you?
Hi. Beverly, hi.
Hello. Sorry. Hi, sorry, I wasn't able to. The network was breaking. Hi.
Hi, okay, that's okay. I'm just gonna ask you very quick questions. Who is a lawyer?
Okay, maybe I can say a lawyer is somebody who has finished the study of the LLB program, the Bachelor of Laws, or any equivalent qualifications for a Bachelor of Laws, and has attained the qualifications. Yes, but it's not yet sworn to the bar, not yet taken the bar.
Okay, who is an advocate?
An advocate is a person who has taken the bar exam and passed and has signed the role of advocate, and is thus able to practice as an advocate after passing the bar.
Okay, what is professional negligence?
I think professional negligence would be describing like if a person with a profession, with a duty in their profession to do something, then doesn't take this duty seriously, and it amounts to a hurt or a harm being caused to one, to the person whom they had promised that they would have duty to take care of.
Okay, just to be clear, what are the elements of professional negligence? What would you have to
Okay,
prove
generally,
to court, yeah, when suing someone for professional negligence? What elements must you prove?
oh, okay. I can name a few. I'm not so sure about this one, but I think that you would have to prove that a person had the duty, had the duty to act on your behalf for some profession which they had undertaken, and that that person did not take enough care to perform this duty, and that due to that he suffered a certain harm or a loss.
Okay, last question. Who is your neighbor?
Your neighbor, your neighbor can be anybody who is next to you. It can be not necessarily the person who lives next to you in your next house, but it can be the person who is actually seated next to you or in front of you or behind
Just be careful. Okay, in matters negligence, that's what I mean. In matters negligence, who is your neighbor? Maybe I'd remind you of Donohue versus Stevenson. Who is your neighbor?
Um,
Just relax.
okay,
It's
I
okay.
know I know the facts of the case, but specifically in defining a neighbor, I would say that a neighbor is anybody whom you would be in contact with, like whom you are dealing with. Okay, I'll pass. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. That's okay. I don't know. Angelo, you want to give your opinion before I do?
Yes, I can go first because mine were few and straightforward.
Yeah.
Yes. Beverly, you tried. You gave your best in the circumstances. At least you had an idea. I give you a 15 in the circumstances. It is not a bad mark, but you can. I know you will continue to read and you will continue to do better. And that is why we prepared these spaces so that we can correct ourselves and know that what we have been doing, studying, we'll continue to do more and more. My questions were straightforward for reason that you are among the first people that we are asking questions. And yes, so you realize there are different ways of asking this question. 3 ways of attacking a plane. That is one way. Okay, how do you respond to a plane can be another way. I can give you a story. Okay, someone has come to you, has served you with summons together with plane and other documents. How can you respond to these documents or to this plane? Okay, so you can do it in 3 ways. You can file something called a set-off. You can file a counterclaim and defense. You see, that is like you can file a counterclaim and a defense. Then number 3, you can file a defense. Okay, that is those you can respond using those 3 ways: a set-off, a counterclaim, and a defense. Or finally, you can respond by way of a defense. Then 3 ways you can respond to an application, because someone would ask you what is the difference between a pleading and an application. Okay, so but now I'm talking about an application. So this one, I would really like you to go to your the more obvious order, that is order 51. I don't know if it is paragraph 4, okay, or rule order 51, rule 4, or thereabout. You realize there are only 3 ways you can respond to an application. You can respond to an application, 1, by way of a replying affidavit. You can equally respond by way of grounds of opposition. You can respond by way of something called a notice of preliminary objection. So you'll see most of the time, most of people go there. Okay. So please go open your civil procedure rule. Sometime just read it as you are going to KSL or as you are going to work, because these are most of the familiar questions that will be asked. Then again, finally, I have not checked. Maybe I've quoted the wrong order. Please go and confirm. I know the session is being recorded. Okay, maybe Osumba, is it order 51, rule 4, that provides for these ways of responding to an application? I would not want to mislead people.
I think I can confirm it's order 51, rule 4, or thereabout. I think I just dealt with it this week.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. I was afraid that I might mislead people. Yeah, there you go. Now I know you are writing, you have written it down, but now go and read that order 51, because it is not the only thing that it provides. because we realize that most of the applications that will be filed, you will realize that someone is going to cite their order 51. It will be for one reason or the other. Please go and find out. The question that you did not answer well, and most of the people, they don't do, it is when someone asks you, why did you want to become a lawyer? Most of people don't do, okay? But for purposes of CLE or oral examinations, they want you to tell a story. You see, you are using words like I believe or I would. You have used the word like I think when you are answering questions or Daniel question, but maybe we'll comment on that because you don't think, okay? You don't use the word I think. Okay, this, and when you are answering this question of mine, you are like using a second person, you would, okay? But here I want you to tell me a story, okay? The reason I wanted to become a lawyer is because, you know, there was this young man called Billy, okay, popularly known as the whatever, the crazy Nairobian. He was abducted, he got lost, he was held incommunicado, no access to a lawyer. And you see, later, you know, he was presented to court 5 days later. This made me feel so bad. I was helpless and I didn't want to be helpless again. So that thing I said, you know what, I have to go to law school. That is why I became a lawyer. So someone will see that you actually had a cause. Okay. So like when you are saying that you want to fight for people who cannot fight for themselves, you have to actually provide an issue. Okay. So please tell your story. If it is the people in your community or if it is the wider society of Kenya, please give them a story. Though the story that you gave me, it was not convincing because anyone will say that story. Okay. So that is it on my end, Beverly. Unless if you have a question for me, that's all. Okay.
Okay, so I bet she doesn't have a question for you. That's fine. Again, that's something that happens. The lecturers will ask you, oh, unless you have a question for me. So you guys can also take note of that. For me, I think I ensured that the questions I ask you revolve around two things. Okay. When I asked you, he's a lawyer, I think your answer was good. However much you said a lot, but yes, I think when you're concluding, you said the right thing. Then when I also asked you about who is an advocate, it's simple. Just say a person whose name is in the role of advocates. Imagine, that's simple, and that's it. Person whose name is in the role of advocates. Because you can't be an advocate if your name is not in the role of advocate. You'd be lying. But a lawyer is someone who probably has gone through school, has done their degree, holds a degree in law from a recognized university. So yeah, I think that was, yeah, but I think your answer was not so bad. Your answer, you are there. You actually answered the question, just that maybe you used so many words. Then maybe just to say, when I asked the second question, you started saying, I think, try as much as possible not to say, I think. Because as a lawyer, you need to have the answer. What's the position? You need to answer what the position is. So try as much as possible not to say, I think, because imagine you have a client and they're asking you, oh, this is my problem. How can we sort it out? Then you start saying, oh, I think that, I mean, that client will just go to the next lawyer very quick because you can't, there's no time to think. You can only give them the answer. Just say, if you're not sure, then just start with, I'm not sure about this answer, but this and this and this and this is my position. Okay, so don't start by saying you think. It could be a bit of a problem because now it's an opinion. It's not an answer. It becomes an opinion because it's what you think. It's not what the law actually says. Now the question I asked you on professional negligence, maybe by saying maybe when I said professional negligence, it kind of confused you. But when I talk of, it's just about negligence. It's nothing crazy, and that's why I kept asking you the second question. Yes, of course, you talked about a professional, and the fact that they are professional, there are certain qualifications that they have, and everything else. But it just surrounds it surrounds negligence. And that's why I went ahead and asked you, what are the elements of negligence? Okay. So we have duty, breach of that duty. We have causation, then we have damages. That's simple. Okay. So duty, breach of that particular duty, causation, meaning you have to prove that I breached and I'm the one who caused whatever happened. Then whatever I caused must have damages. Okay, so just you talk about duty, breach of the duty, causation, then damages. Okay, that would make it clear. They just say that when we talk about professional negligence, then we're talking about a profession. So we also have to look at the qualification. We won't treat this person as, the normal man on the omnibus. This is a different kind of person with qualifications. If it's a doctor, we have to use the standards that we'd use when we're talking about a negligent doctor, not just a negligent reasonable man. Okay, so I think that would make it so easy. I don't think I asked you any other question after that. If I did, you'll remind me. Then I was struggling to hear you. I think that's one thing that you have to ensure, Beverly. Don't let the lecturer struggle to hear you. Imagine I'm struggling to hear you and I need to give you marks. I can give you 12. I didn't even hear what you said anyway. I'm just being generous. So try as much as possible to just speak. Just be loud. The answer is this. Let them be able to hear you. Maybe your issue is network. I understand. But when you go there, do not allow them to struggle to hear you. Be as clear and as loud as don't allow them. That's something that can be avoided. So just avoid it. Okay? Then I think that's all I can say. There's nothing else I can add. But most importantly, I think you did well. Your answers were on point. Yes, I think you did well. But then the answers that I asked you on professional negligence, you're a bit too quick. You're a bit too quick. When you find a cake that you like, it's very important to eat it. So eat it. Say as much as you can. Ensure that you delve into as much as possible. I understood that you knew something about duty and breach. Explain. What do you mean? Yeah, I remember I asked about the neighbor principle and Donohue versus Stevenson. And Donohue versus Stevenson, who is your neighbor? That was well discussed there. The person that you ought to have in mind while doing something, because what you are doing might actually affect them. That's simple. Okay? So that's all I can say. Maybe Angelo, you can get for us the next person. That's all I can say. But you did well, Beverly. I think I'd give you good marks. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Daniel. I believe our panelists are still Osumba and Odur. You will take, what was his name? Please, your hand was up before. Please unmute.
Hello.
Yes, Michael, thank you.
I request
Donna?
maybe either of you and either you or Daniel could go with Osumba. I'm not feeling so well. I think I'd tell Daniel that.
Okay, thank you. Osumba and Daniel, you can take Michael.
Osumba, you can go first.
Michael, you can unmute and introduce yourself.
Hello, panel. I am Michael Okile, admission number 2024-0018, a member of Farm 3, and a member of the Kenya School of Law.
Michael, what would you want us to ask you? Which subject are you conversant or comfortable with?
I'm conversant with all the subjects, including all the 9 units. I'm comfortable with them. I enjoy them. However, I'll enjoy whatever you'll point to me, and I'll appreciate delving into it.
Right, Michael, would you tell us if you are appearing before a magistrate's court, how would you address the judicial officer?
If I'm appearing before a magistrate's court, I will approach them by stating as follows. Your Honor, this is Iftaman. I am Michael Munene, counsel for the plaintiff in matter civil. And my case for my client is as follows. So that's how I'll begin my presentation before a magistrate's court if I'm appearing before a male adjudicator.
So then it will be different if the judicial officer is female.
Yes. But the judicial officer will be a female. I will approach them by saying as follows. My lady, I am Michael Munene, counsel for the plaintiff. I appear before you today to present the following case for my client. So that's how I'll approach the case if it was a female magistrate.
Right, very well. Maybe we'll discuss. Can you tell us about you filed a plaint and you noticed that it has a problem? Maybe the parties weren't described correctly, or there is some information that you left out that you really feel must be included there. What would you do? How would you correct that?
So I will correct the particular error by first of all making an application by way of chamber summon for the court to seek leave for me to make amendments to the parties. And I think that's how I'll approach. And once leave is given for me to make amendments, then I can go ahead and correct my errors.
Well, I agree with you, but I'm not really talking about. You see, when we talk about parties, I know there is order one, and there's a whole lot of discussion around there. We're not talking about adding a party or substituting a party. We're simply talking about, you notice there is information, the parties are correct. Your plaintiff is correct, your defendant is correct, but there is information that you need to include there. I agree with you, you will amend, but then I don't agree on the issue of chamber summons. Ordinarily, if you want to amend, if pleadings have not closed, then you simply proceed to amend without leave. And if pleadings have closed, then you just do a notice of motion and seek leave to be allowed to amend. That is all from me.
Thank you. I've taken note of the correction.
Okay. So I bet that I'm next. Okay. So how are you? How are you, Michael?
Yeah, I am well. Thank you.
Michael, which football team do you support in the Euro 2024 that is happening in Germany?
Thank you. I'm not well versed with the Euro or Premier League or English football, but I just know that I support one team, that's Manchester United. I'm not familiar with the Euro.
Okay. That's really nice. I was walking around the other day and I had people talking about, what Putin is doing against America and what America is doing against Putin. If you're asked today between Putin and Biden, who would you pick? Who's your best president?
The best president from an African perspective would be Russia, since there is a whole topic about neocolonization. And from the social media, we see that he's really supporting the rights of Africans. At least that's a media's perspective. And that's why I support Russia, Putin.
Okay, that's nice. So a friend who I work with, a colleague, previously reached out to me telling me they were arrested during a protest against the finance bill. And they were asking if I could help them. If you are me, they've been arrested at the Central Police Station, okay? And they'll be arraigned in court on Monday. They've called me on a Sunday. If you are me, what would you be thinking about? How can you sort them out?
So if I were you in that particular situation, I'll first of all have the Constitution as my first point of reference, particularly Article 49, which talks about the rights of an arrested person. We do know that an arrested person has the right to be informed of the reason of the arrest and also a right to be availed bail and bond. So what I'll advise you to go and handle it with the arrested person is that you first of all have to go seek their release, this by way of bail. This could be through personal recordations, whereby they just go and promise the court that they'll appear to court in a particular day. So that's how I'll approach that point, because it's simply a matter of arrest and you're seeking their release. So in matters of bail, you need to take note of the various bails that are there. And for your fellow friend, it will be bail pending hearing of the matter. And this could be secured by security of either cash or maybe a title deed. But when it comes to a police station, it's mostly cash. So that's how I'll advise you to go ahead on that matter.
Okay, that's okay. That was my last question. So I think I'll give my comments. Man, I'll give you 19. That's all. Osumba?
I think I would give a 17 because the goods council in training mixed up issues. You see, for magistrates, irrespective of the gender, it is simply your honor. And then now the distinction comes when you go to the high court, basically the superior courts. For male judges, you use your lordship. Then for female judges, you use your ladyship. Even though in practice, what happens is you can say your honor even to judges or your lordship, whether you're dealing with the female. But for academic purposes, female judge, your ladyship, male judge, your lordship, magistrate is just your honor, irrespective of the gender. Thank you. You did well, sir.
Thank you so much. It's an honor.
Thank you so much, Michael. That was a good one. You are forthcoming in your answers. You are concise. You had organization, and you see this is just a start. I know you will better up. You will not stop there. You will do better, and you can only do better. So what I can say, Daniel, we are almost at 11. It is 3 minutes to 11. So I think we can only have one person. Or are we supposed to go until 11:30, Daniel?
No, you're correct. Let's finish at 11 so that we give them time. Since it's also the first time, so that, they'll be more prepared on Saturday. So let's have one more.
Very well. So we will have one more person. We had our first one. Then we call the last person our lucky number. So I don't know who that person will be. So please, okay. Magabe, you can unmute. Do we call you Mugabe? I don't know why it is Magabe, but maybe CLE should be scared of you.
It's Magabe.
So Honorable Magabe, let's say you are your orals is in the afternoon. Osumba, you will join me in this as my colleague, as a panelist. I will start, and then my learned friend Osumba will join in. So the orals are in the afternoon. Okay. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Kindly introduce yourself.
My name is Gati Trezilin Magabe, admission number 2024-1536, a member of class G, Farm 27.
Very well. So, Magabe, you are a member of Gen Z, eh? You are just there saying, should you reject a finance bill, inject tear gas left, right, and center? All of a sudden, you got a call from from the your client who was participating in the ongoing demonstrations. He has been taken to Kibera Law Court, or is it Makadara, or is it Milimani, whichever. But for these purposes, I have chosen Kibera Law Court. You are just wearing your red suit because you know you are doing TikTok. You want those likes. You are on live, like the way they are saying it somewhere. But now you don't have time to go back home, and you just rush to court, and your makeup is everywhere because you know you have to look nice for your TikTokers or viewers. And for one reason or the other, when you tried to address the court, the magistrate could not allow you. She was saying that she's not seeing anyone addressing her. Can you please tell me what could have been the problem with you?
Okay, the problem could have been my dress code. Of course, if I'm putting on a red suit, that's shouting. So the dress code for lawyers should be dull colors. So in that situation, I'd seek indulgence of the court. If the magistrate allows me to place the matter aside, then I'll go change into a decent dress code and then come address him or her.
Very, very well, very well. Maybe quickly you can tell me what is the holding of or what when you hear someone tell you about the case of Anarita Karimi Njeri versus the Republic, what comes to your mind?
What comes to my mind is that one must plead with particularity. You must plead, like you must specify what you're pleading. Thank
Just the pleading, any pleading. It can be an road traffic accident, or what are you trying to say? Or a matter commercial, what are you saying?
For a constitutional petition, like you must state the rights you're alluding that have been violated and the reliefs you're seeking from the court.
Okay, can you please tell me, is there any recent decision that has actually now upheld this particular decision of the High Court of Kenya in 1979? Any authority of any superior court that comes to your mind?
At the moment, none is coming to my mind.
Okay, fair enough. Maybe finally, you can tell me the rule in Force versus Aborto, 1844.
Sorry, come again. The case of
the rule. Please tell me the rule in Force versus Aborto, like FOSS. I know you know Aborto. Am I saying it wrong? Odur, maybe you can say that one for me. Daniel?
Wait, I think you're correct. It's Force versus Hamilton.
Yes. Is that okay now?
Yes, I'm not sure of the rule. Kindly pass.
Okay, then that would be all for me. Osumba, thank you.
Two quick ones. Mugabe, a client comes to your chambers and they tell you that the late husband died. They are yet to do succession, but there is a child who is joining university in a week's time, and they need to pay school fees from monies held in a bank account belonging to the late husband. How would you assist them? What would you tell them to do, or what would you think needs to be done for them to access that money?
I'll advise we'd file an application in court under certificate of urgency so that the matter can be determined as soon as possible, bearing the nature of the urgency, that is paying school fees for the child, and then thereafter any like the remaining money that is in the estate will be determined later on, of course by following the due procedure under the Law of Succession Act.
Right, we will discuss that. Tell me the relationship between the law of succession and criminal law, if any.
That one I'm not sure of.
Right, it's okay. Maybe Angelo, you may want to go first with your comments.
Oh yes, I can't. Magabe, you did really well. At least we can hear you. You are audible. You are clear in your answers. For one, I will not comment on the Anarita Karimi case because I really want you to go and look for that decision, because we realized recently when some people they applied for position of judge of the High Court of Kenya, and they would be similar the way that I asked you that particular question, and they want to know that decision. Actually, it was decided in the Court of Appeal. Some people were not happy with the decision of the Court of Appeal. Now they went to the Supreme Court, and now Supreme Court actually made it final. So, and some magistrate was like, I don't know. Okay, and then I don't know if it was Justice Majanja. He said that, okay, I am done, or I will leave it there. Good luck. Okay, so this one you really did well in answering that particular case, because it is a locus classicus case in terms of constitutional petitions. She is still alive, I think, and she is not aware the jurisprudence that she has created that particular MP from Meru. Okay, but the party that seeks a constitutional remedy so is required to set out with reasonable degree of precision. You see, it is not enough to say that Article 22 has been violated, Article 21. You have to go to action to tell us how has this particular article of the Constitution has been violated. You don't just tell us that Article 59 or Article what has Article 53. No, it is not enough. You have to set it out. Okay? You did that. But now I want you to go and find that decision for us. We will begin with that when we meet again on Saturday. Also, the rule in Force versus Aborto, actually it comes with two principles, whereby one will touch on the case of Solomon versus Solomon and another. But sometimes some panelists will want you to tell them about the majoritarian rule, whereby the decision of the majority, let's say when it comes to decision making in companies, so the majoritarian rule, so the decision of the majority will take the day. But there are some small exceptions, or whereby maybe the decision of the minority will not necessarily carry the day, but maybe they can have a say. Then the other one is something called the legal personality of a company, whereby they can sue and be sued in their own names. So at least you can tell the panelists maybe the aspect of the majoritarian rule and the aspect of the legal personality. Such that now if you are asked what are the exceptions to the rule in Force versus Aborto, so that you can have three exceptions to tell them. Because if you would have told me the rule in Force versus Aborto, So my next question would have been, what are these particular exceptions? Tell me about derivative action. What is that? Tell me something called unfair prejudice rule or petition. Okay? Tell me about maybe whereby something about a petition or a suit to wind up a company, something like that. But maybe I can leave it to the members of the group. I don't know, we'll ask this question next. But you have to find what are the exceptions. And they have been codified, by the way, in the Companies Act. So that was all. I believe my comment would just be there because you really answered well the aspect of the magistrate. Okay. What the examiner is testing there is whether you understand the aspect of dress code. And it is something that has been codified by the LSK. Okay. How do you dress? You are going there with a red suit. Okay. Then it means that I am directing you somewhere and you have answered that well. So thank you very much. Keep it up. You did well. And I am happy. I am happy. Thank you.
Mine is fairly simple. You see, if you want to access monies to pay school fees out of the estate of a deceased person, you file a petition for special limited grants. I've seen Prota say in the chat that you do grants ad collegianda bona. That is not correct. You see, the word ad collegianda bona is Latin for to collect the goods. So ad collegianda bona defuncti is to collect the goods of the deceased. So granted collegianda bona defuncti would apply where you need to collect the goods, or rather someone has died and they have left goods that are likely to, that are perishable, that are likely to get destroyed, and you need to collect them for purposes of ensuring that they're preserved and stuff. But if you want to pay school fees, you do special limited grants, because that cannot await full succession of the estate. So that question was meant to point you guys to do research on the types of grants that we have in Kenya and their purpose. We have the full grants, then we have the limited ones. And then also, what was my other question? The relationship between the law of succession and criminal law. Under the Law of Succession Act, someone who commits murder is not allowed to benefit or to inherit from the estate of the deceased. So if a person murders their father, they cannot inherit from his estate. That is the relationship. When it comes to commercial transactions, most questions would rotate around the Taekwondo principle, the rule in force versus habitual, or what is called the proper plaintiff rule, and then the exceptions. What are the exceptions to the Taekwondo principle, and also the exceptions to the rule in force versus habitual. That is all from me, guys. I wish you well. I hope to see you next Saturday, and have a blessed night. Susan, you have a question?
Yeah, on the relationship between criminal law and probate, can we also add that section 45 on the on intermeddling?
That is okay.
Did you
That is
hear
true. I heard. That's true.
Okay.
All right. All the best, guys. See you on Saturday. That's all from me, and have a blessed night.
All right. All right. Thank you so much, Osumba. Thank you so much for our colleagues who have participated. This is just the beginning. I know we have a long way to go. Maybe someone can just confirm for us so that we are also aware. When are your orals? Anyone? You can just
Beginning
unmute.
20,
Yeah.
22nd.
22nd July to 16th August.
Oh, okay, 22nd July. Sawa sawa. So at least now we know tutajipanga lini, because I believe towards the when we will leave you to go and study. So yes, that should be okay. Also, I don't know if I mixed things up. The proper plaintiff rule, the aspect of the majoritarian rule. Sorry. That one is fine like that. The aspect of legal personality, whereby you will say that the company can sue and be sued. Okay, so there is the majoritarian rule and there is the proper plaintiff rule. So in any suit against a company, the proper plaintiff is the company. It is not an individual. However, now there are exemptions to that particular rule, the proper plaintiff rule. The derivative action, the unfair prejudice, the ones that maybe someone to file a suit for winding up. Okay, but we will talk about those sometime next week on Saturday. So that is all, guys. Encourage your members to always attend. I know how these sessions help me. I hope they will also help you. Odur, that is it on my end. Maybe you can close our meeting.
Okay, Donna, are you in? No?
She said that she was not feeling well. I don't know what she said.
So, fine, that's cool. Guys, it's been nice, man. It's been nice to have you today. I like the amount of wisdom that we've shared today and the knowledge. I like your confidence. I like the amount of knowledge that you've been able to amass so far. It's very, very encouraging. It's nice to have these conversations with you, and your answers were very, very good. Please continue digging, continue doing your best as you can. And I want to believe and know that you guys will do exceptionally well. So please be encouraged. It was nice to have you, and may the Lord bless you. One of you will pray for us. Allow me to just choose. I pray that when we are starting, Magabe, maybe you can just pray. Then after Magabe prays, good night, guys. Magabe?
Okay, let's pray. Father, in the mighty name of Jesus, we thank you for this session we've had. Thank you for the panelists. Thank you for everyone who has been able to join us. Thank you for everything that we've learned. We've learned this night. We hope that next time we meet, we shall have a lot to discuss. We pray that you may protect us tonight till we meet next time. In Jesus' name we do pray and believe. Amen.
Amen. Good night, guys. See you.
Good night.
Amen and good night.